Hey everybody, Chris, 4 Directions Bushcraft. I want to show you another way of making fire starters. The last video I did was making fire starters out of dryer lint and wax. This essentially is the same thing, but we're going to use newspaper, or you can also use telephone book paper. And what we want to do is we want to just shred this up. Shred it up into fine, small pieces. The smaller you can get, the faster this process will go. What we're going to do is shred all these up, and I'll show you the next step after that. We have a pan full of water. Can you see that? Pan full of water. We have our wax. We're going to slowly heat that up too. We have this about halfway filled, and what we're going to do is we're just going to put our paper in there, and we are going to bring it to a boil. And then after it comes to a boil, we're going to simmer it for about a half an hour, and that's going to break those fibers down and I mean essentially make it almost like our dryer lint. So now we're bringing this to a boil. We have all of our, well, almost all of our paper in there. So I did about half water, half paper. Gonna bring it to a boil, and then we're gonna simmer it for about a half an hour. Alright, so we're at a boil now. What you want to do is you want to boil all the water out of this, so reduce it all the way down. And this will become like almost like a paste. Okay, so I'm just letting the rest of the water boil off here. Alright, so I boiled this down. All the water is almost gone out of it. What we're going to do is let it cool, and then we're going to patty them up. So now we just lay it out to cool off and dry. And then you can take it. You can still see the water coming out of there. Even after I boiled it all that time. So just squeeze as much water as you can out of those, and then you can just patty them up like that. Make patties out of them, and then we're just going to dry them out. We'll just take them and squeeze them. And that'll be my form. So after those dry for 24 hours, we're going to dip them in the wax and then dry them again, and they'll be done. So I go through and I just continue this process with all of them. It's more of a tedious process than it is using the dryer lint, and they work both the same. So I just prefer to use the dryer lint, but I wanted to show you guys this method as well. Alright, there they are, all pattied up. And I'll just leave them dry for about 24 hours. Alright everybody, so our newspaper fire starters have dried out all the way, and we're just going to heat up our wax and dip them in the wax. You can dip them once, you can dip them twice, and then we're going to see how they work. Sometimes I double dip them depending on how much wax I have, you know. Wax is almost melted, and you just take these, and I like to hold on to them with a pair of pliers. You just take them and dip them. I like to hold them under there it'll bubble, allowing all the air out. And when it gets done bubbling, that's kind of when I know they're good and saturated with that wax. And then I'll just keep swishing them around a little bit. And then I'll just set them down to dry. And you can throw multiple ones in there at a time. That's what I'll probably do with this. So you throw 6 or 7 of them in there and let them soak up that. They'll end up sinking. You soak up that wax. And like I said, I got a lot of wax here, so I might double dip these. But you don't have to. They'll still stay waterproof and everything, even if you don't. So all these have sunk now. And what I'll do is I'll use one of my old forks, maybe. Be a little better. And just kind of scoop them out. And that's all there is to it. Alright, so we got our fire starters dried out. And I wanted to do a little test with them and see how they work. They dry really quick. This one's actually still a little warm, but let's see how it works. I got some water here. I'm just gonna throw it in. So there it is, just like before. See how this works. Hopefully the wax kept all that water out of that newspaper, and it surely did, you know. See? So that wax just, you know, works perfectly. And you can use any material to make these, really. It doesn't have to be newspaper or dryer lint. It could be cotton balls. It could be I mean, anything you want to coat in wax, you know. So that's anything you want to coat in wax will work. This newspaper burns for a long, long time too, just like the dryer lint. So if you got wet wood out there, or it's raining out in the woods, these things are great, man. You don't want to leave home without them, really. You can't get your bow drill to work, or a friction fire to work, or your ferro rod to work. These things will keep you warm. And so I'll just recoat this one in wax and use it for later. What I want to do is I want to use hot water. I want to try to dip one of these in hot water, thinking the wax is going to melt and then it won't start. So let's test that out. I'll drain this, and then I'm going to fill it with as hot as water as I can get out of the faucet. This is as hot as my faucet will go. And I mean, it's pretty hot, just like anything else. We don't need a lot of water to do this, but let's see. Pick another one of these out, and we'll just leave it in there for a little bit. It's pretty warm water, so I mean, if you're out in the river or something, the river's not going to get this hot. You know, maybe a hot spring or something, but hopefully you're not swimming around in there during a survival situation or something. So my tripod's broke, so I haven't got a new one yet, so you'll have to bear with me kind of ducking down and talking to you. So anyway, our wax fire starter is still, it's floating. Move it over here so you can see it. There it is. Let's try to light it up. It doesn't look like it's melting off of there. It takes quite a bit to melt that wax. It does feel a little gooey. So they work good. So anyway, again, thanks for your views, your comments, and as always, your guys' support. And be sure to have fun out there, and we'll see you guys on the next one. Take care.